On the streets of Kabul, his face is one of the most familiar sights. Ahmad Shah Massoud is everywhere. On picture postcards, on car windscreens, he even has a roundabout named after him, Massoud Circle. The former leader of the Northern Alliance was assassinated 10 years ago by two members of Al-Qaeda posing as journalists.
We were just having the breakfast in London that I got the telephone that something happened, but I did not pay attention because we often heard this sort of news.
Massoud had informed the West of the growing threat of Al-Qaeda and the Taliban.
Massoud continuously warned them, especially remember that when the ship in Yemen was blown up, and Massoud called me that, haven't they realized yet?
2 days after he was killed, the September 11th attacks happened in the United States, killing almost 3,000 people.
We thought that, well, he was so right. He was so right. And that time we thought that the US government was so naive not to know that that was happening. Something what Massoud warned that the things is coming from inside Afghanistan, from Taliban and from Pakistan. That's so naive not to hear. Thousands of people had died there, only not to listen to someone who was in the field.
It was in the 1980s that Massoud's military skills were first realised when he commanded thousands of fighters who took on the Russians. On one occasion, his home in Panjshir came under attack.
برادرای مسعود و خود مسعود در اینمی خانه تولد شده و مدت زندگی میکردن. بعد تحولاتی که به افغانستان آمد که رژیم کمونیستی به وجود آمد و تجاوز روسا، بازی ساعت کاملا تخریب شد، خراب شد در اثر بمباردمان روسا، کاملا دمیج شده، از بین رفت. اما بعد باز مسعود بعد از تحولاتی که آمد و آرامیتر آمد پنجشیر، خانه را پس دوباره به شکل عمود ساده و سیمپلش ساختن که در همیشه خانوادگی زندگی میکرد.
Massoud set up a base near his house from where he'd run his operations. The map on the wall he acquired in Kabul, he used it to pinpoint the enemy.
نقشه در حقیقت روسی هستند، یعنی به زبان روسی است و نقشه خود روسی هم است، اما میتونست که او از نقشه بفهمه که در کجا است.
Massoud wasn't a rich man. This was his office, left just how it was the day he died.
دیگرها زندگی بسیار مجلل و زینتی داشته باشه. بسیار ساده زندگی کرده و از مردمش بوده، در بین مردمش بوده.
Massoud played a key role in defeating the Russians. 7 years later, however, another enemy reared its head, the Taliban. At first, Massoud tried to negotiate peace.
He with two bodyguards, he went there himself, inside the Taliban, inside the leadership council, and said, I'm Massoud. And you said, you want peace in Afghanistan, let's talk peace. He stayed there for a few hours to discuss. But when he came back, we asked him that, well, what happened? What was the response of Taliban? He said that, I don't think if these people want peace. They are totally in a different world.
Realising there was to be no compromise with the Taliban, Massoud returned to the north of the country and told his forces to prepare for another battle. His organisation, the Northern Alliance, united all ethnic groups.
امروز همه تشیع در اینجاست. ازبک‌ها در اینجاست. اقوام دیگه در اینجا نماینده دارند. افراد روشنی از قندهار داریم، از پکتیا داریم، از جلال آباد داریم، از تمام مناطق پشتونشین داریم.
The Northern Alliance controlled territory in which roughly 30% of the population lived. Massoud remained the only leader who managed to defend his ground from the Taliban, though the fight was bloody. The Taliban tried repeatedly to enter the Panjshir Valley, but they were forced back by Massoud's forces. It's estimated 10,000 of them died trying.
روزی گفتیم که جنازه مسعود وقتی دفن میشه، تو روز بیشتر از 100,000 نفر از پنجشیر و ولایات ماحول پنجشیر اشتراک کردند در جنازه و همه سیاه‌پوش بودند. همه در یک ماتم، در یک سوگ و در یک اندوه و در غم بودند و تمام مردم می‌دیدی که در اون روز گریان میکرد.
10 years after his death, the legacy of Massoud lives on. His supporters are making sure of that. Behind me here, at the site of his burial, they're building a museum and a library. This site has cost $5 million to build, funded in part by Afghan businessmen and contributions from Norway, Denmark and India. The dome-like structure at the far end houses Massoud's remains.
یک لابی است که ورودی به اینجا است. یک زینه داریم به این طرف، زینه برگشت به این طرف است. یک لابی است که شاید بعد کوچه ها چیزی مانده شد، یک کسایی که میان به زیارت اینجا میخوان بشینن
Masood was 48 years old when he died. He left behind a wife, 5 daughters and a son called Ahmed. Whatever the outcome of the current war with the Taliban in Afghanistan, if Masood's son ever found himself in his father's position, he wouldn't be short of supporters.
ما کار توکل به خداست. اگر ما که امید ما همی است که احمد جای مسعود بگیره. ما مجاهدینی که هستیم اعتبار سرمون داریم. ما دوباره سلاح برداریم و پشت از این ما جهاد بکنیم.
Mel Preen in Panjshir, Afghanistan for the NATO channel.